Hey, what's happening, my friends? John Hiley here with the Kingdom Power Life, bringing you another daily episode where today you're going to want to stick around, my friends, because if you are in a relationship or if you intend on being in a relationship where we have the feminine and the masculine energy, how these two things are supposed to work. In this episode today, we're going to be digging into ancient Hebrew wisdom, and we're going to really take a practical approach to fully understand, how the dynamic of the man and the woman, or the masculine and the feminine, and how that is supposed to really create almost like an infinity symbol where you see that the energy just flows in and through each other, causing powerful miracles inside of your household. I really wish if I would have understood these solid, ancient, biblical principles a long time ago, it would have saved me a ton of grief. And every time that I explain this, we actually were out with a couple friends the other night, Byron and Chrissy, and I explain this to them. It's like a light bulb comes on, and you fully begin to understand how God has actually been trying to communicate to you how the man and woman are supposed to function together. Remember, God wants us not only to function, but He wants us to thrive in our relationships with each other. Because the relationship between the masculine and the feminine, the man and the woman, was ultimately designed to drive us closer to the Lord. And in this episode, I'm going to explain exactly how that works. And we're going to be digging deep even into the language, the Hebrew language, to understand what was going on there and how that really impacts what we do here now and today. So all of that ancient wisdom that has essentially been kind of erased from mainstream knowledge, wisdom, education. It is actually the core fundamentals that we need to succeed even in this day and age, which is even much more, further proof of God's glory, and that He put such incredible, lively principles in place such a long time ago that our society is actually kind of like went backwards from these principles, causing some of the turmoil and the pain that we have today. So that being said, my friends, this episode is balancing energy in relationships, the divine role of man and woman. So, if you guys happen to be listening over there on the podcast, please make sure to like, subscribe, and please write us a review. We would also love it if you shared this episode with anybody who you think that needs this. In fact, share it with a couple people. We appreciate that. That helps us grow, and it helps me, be here as often as I am. I'm going to be here regardless, but ultimately it will help us expand this message and get it out further. Our ultimate goal is to change the world, bring them closer to God, and I appreciate you being a participant in our journey. So, that being said, if you are over on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that little notification bell. We do release a video just about every day. There's only been 2 days over the last probably 100 days that it's somehow either slipped my mind or it got misscheduled. But I try to release a video each and every day, and I'm diligently working towards that. And today, this is literally today's video. So this is coming out. This is not like something I recorded a month ago. I'm doing these either a day or two ahead, so that way I can really deliver what's on my heart based on the revelation that I receive from God as I spend time with God each and every morning. And so you get some sort of new, fresh perspective each and every time you watch one of these videos. So that being said, my friends, if you are not over on our Facebook group, we do have a free Facebook group. You can head on over to kingdompowerlife.com. Scroll down. There'll be a link to the group. You can get in over there and jump in on the conversation. We would love to have you over there. We also do these videos on Facebook so people can comment and talk, and it's a little bit more of an intimate platform opposed to the YouTube comments. So Again, let's jump into this. Energy in your relationships, the balancing of energies, the divine role of man and woman. Now, I believe that when you hear this, that it's much more primal than you've ever imagined, meaning that the things that happen on a much more primal level or a physical level is really giving us a blueprint of the way things are supposed to happen inside of our household, okay? So, and we'll get to that here, but first I want to talk about the energy dynamics of a man and woman. And if we break it down into Hebrew language, one of the interesting things that I found as I'm studying the Hebrew language, and I'm not going to claim here to sit here and claim to be some sort of scholar, but I am studying, I am learning how to write it, and little by little, I'm learning how to understand what the different letters mean and really dig deep into the Hebrew alphabet. And one of the interesting things about the Hebrew alphabet, not only does each letter, which ultimately reads from right to left, have a particular sound. Some of them do, some of them don't. But they also, each letter has a particular meaning in it. Okay, so the only difference in the letter between man and woman is literally the last letter. The very first letter is alpha, meaning that, God is involved. And here's the thing. That's a sign to us that we cannot, absolutely cannot remove God from our relationship, or it literally becomes an ever-consuming fire, meaning that it will just burn up without God in that particular relationship. So there'll be a lot of chaos. Anytime you remove God from anything, it becomes chaos. God is perfect order, and when you remove God from it, it literally becomes chaos. In fact, in the Hebrew language, if you remove the letter that represents God, which is alpha, and it is a silent letter, because guess what? I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard God speak from the clouds for me personally. So it really, the voice of the Holy Spirit's very quiet, very still. But if you remove that letter from the word truth in Hebrew, it actually becomes evil. It literally the word changes from truth to evil. Okay? So when you remove God from anything, it literally goes to chaos. And this was the very first thing between the words man and woman that we were to understand, is that God being the very first letter in the names, in the ancient Hebrew wisdom, in them names, is that we have to have God in our relationship. I have a pastor mentor of mine that said that, imagine drawing like a pyramid, and it's like you got man on one side, woman on the other side, and if you got God in the middle, and, if the man is good for God and the woman is good for God, then the relationship is going to thrive. It will absolutely thrive. So that's one of the keys. And then also fully understanding that the man, the reason why we are called the father and the father is called the father, is because the man is supposed to be the representation of what the father looks like in the household. Okay? So meaning that I'm not talking about most people, okay? Because to represent what the father looks like in a household takes a strict adherence to the word of God, meaning that you are a representation of what God, as an image of God, should look like in that household. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that get that wrong. There's a lot of misrepresentation of what God looks like in the household. Even in the religious world, I've heard that over and over again. My dad beat me if I didn't go to church. Like, all of these particular things is misrepresenting God. Does God physically come out of the sky and beat you if you don't go to church? No. That's a misrepresentation of God in the household. And then, obviously it gets worse in many, many areas, right? And it's not so the man of the household is exalted as God. It is that we are meant to be a conduit to bring the light of the Lord in the household. We are meant to be the ones that read and fill ourselves with the light of the Lord, to do things right and be honorable and be truthful and be an example in that household. Now, that isn't to say the woman is an example, but the woman actually has a much more critical, more powerful role, I believe, in the household. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, the woman has an incredible role in the household. So going back to, I'm going to get to that in a minute. This is like, I'm trying to hold off on telling you guys everything right now, because I really want to this message to sink in based off of the ancient Hebrew language. So if you look at the Hebrew, the word man is ish or ish, meaning fire, and that is giving energy. Okay? Fire is filled and giving energy, right? So anytime that you're in a situation and you're giving energy, you're showing up as the masculine in that particular situation. Now, a woman, on the other hand, is represented by the word Aisha, which translates to life or substance, embodying the receiving and nurturing energy, okay? So women embody and receive a very nurturing energy. They are literally the light of the household. If the man is the fire, the fire is lighting the lamp of the woman to spread the light throughout the household and ultimately manifest miracles in that household. Okay? Now follow me here, because this is incredibly powerful to understand. And just so you guys know, I'm trying my best to pronounce the Hebrew words the best that I can. And just know that my attempt is God's willingness to get this information to you. So this is ultimately what it means. So the role of the woman embodies, the nurturing energy, receiving the light from the man and manifesting the miracles in the household. Her role is to create and nurture, to bring forth life and abundance from the energy bestowed upon her. Okay? So here's what I want you guys to understand. What we see in the primal, which means man and woman come together, they have union, they end up having a baby. The baby goes into the healthy mother's belly for 9 months and produces the absolute most incredible miracle that we can possibly ever produce, and brings another human life and a soul upon this earth. Okay? So that is the primal function. The man gives his energy to the woman. The woman takes the energy, incubates it inside of her, and then produces this incredible miracle. Well, listen to me, my friends. This was the design from the beginning of not only how the primal function, but how our households are supposed to function according to the ways of the Lord. Now, what exactly does that mean? That means the man is bringing the energy into the relationship, filling the woman with the love and the light that she needs. And she is in that process of creating light for the entire house. So when that happens, we are functioning in God's will, and we are literally creating union with the Lord, connecting our union to the Lord, and we are ultimately doing things the way in that household that it's supposed to be. Now, here's the key to this. You've got to understand that if the man is bringing in the energy, which most men are not very critical of themselves. Unless you got a lot of feminine energy, most men are not very critical of themselves. However, on the other side of the spectrum, most women are very critical of themselves. Okay, very critical of themselves. Now, the key to understand this is that, and this is going to really throw a lot of you men for a loop, but this is the key problem that has been driving you away from your woman or ruining relationships forever, like since relationships started, is that number one, the man is supposed to accept criticism from the woman, meaning the woman will see our blind spots and tell us what we're doing wrong. And here's another thing that you'll notice: if you listen to what your woman is complaining about, and you use that as the ability not to get down on yourself, not to get angry, not even to get upset, but just to understand that it's natural. And then we're supposed to actually take that and examine it. And then we're supposed to also be willing to say, this particular thing that I'm being, that I'm being confronted on here at my home through my most trusted, through the one who's not afraid to tell me the way that she feels about me when the rest of the world probably is, right? For me, I know that's the case. People are scared to tell me. I look like a scary dude, even though I'm nice, but people they just don't, right? So I get that from my wife. I can actually analyze that. And what you'll find in 90% of the cases, I'm not saying it's 100%, but 90% of the time, you're going to find that criticism that you are getting is literally in correlation with other problems that you're having with the world outside of your relationship. Do you see what I'm saying here, guys? You fully understand that? Now, here's the vice versa aspect of it. We are not allowed to criticize the woman. Okay? I've actually naturally became very good at this. I barely ever criticize my wife. I don't critique the way she looks, the way she dresses. I don't critique, what she wants to do. I do not try to change her, and I haven't for a long, long time. And that's something I've always inside I knew was right. Okay? But here's what happens, my friends. So women are already so critical on themselves. Okay? That if you go and you add to that, and you add more critiquing to that, and you add all of these different, criticisms to the woman, what happens is you crack her vessel so she cannot hold the light to manifest the miracles in your household. Listen, and then what happens? You literally, especially if you do it like not out of love. If you say, oh, well, she complained to me about this. Well, now I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to say this, or I'm going to say that. Oh, she's trying to drag me down. Oh, I'm going to drag her down, right? That kind of attitude literally turns you into the woman. So Tony Robbins used to talk about this, how the polarity of male and female, man and woman. And I don't know everything about what Tony Robbins, but I do agree with this, that literally when the man starts complaining, getting his feelings hurt, taking criticism to where it's so painful. Oh, my feelings are hurt. Oh, I'm going to go cry. Oh, she treats me so bad. Every divorce that you ever hear with a man and a woman is usually you hear this from the man when you see him. Oh, she used to say this, and oh, she was always worried about money, or oh, she used to just, da, 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 da. It's that eventually that man took it personal and became the woman, and started criticizing back and started nitpicking back. When the man is actually designed to hear this, to understand that it's there to prove that it's not an attack on my manhood. This is here to make me improve so I can go out and bring more light into the household. To bring more energy of the light of the Lord into this household. To be a better lover, to be a better provider, to be a better father. To be a better example. That, my friends, is what we are supposed to learn. Okay? We're never supposed to allow it to hurt our feelings. I read a book. I can't remember what book I read, but the book said that you're supposed to look at criticism from women like wind going through a tree. It's just natural. It's just there. It's designed to make us better. And here's the thing. The moment that it doesn't hurt your feelings anymore, you got to get over that hurt and the feelings thing. Okay? The moment that it doesn't hurt your feelings anymore, it'll stop getting so intense. Just the fact that something hurts your feelings is the ultimate fact. You ever heard the word the truth hurts? That's true. It's the fact. It's the Lord trying to speak to you through her. And if it hurts your feelings, then that means there's some truth to it. And it means you've got an area of life that you've got some work that you've got to do. You don't believe me? I got a friend of mine, top bodybuilder in the world, a guy named Steve Kluko. If I walked up to Steve right now and called him fat, hey, man, you looking fat today. He would just laugh at me. He would just laugh at me because he knows that that's not true about himself, right? Now, I'm not telling you to laugh at your woman. What I'm telling you is if she says something that's not true, you'll know. You'll know. But if it hurts and you feel this pain inside, then you've got some work to do on yourself, and you've got some work to do in that particular department. Okay? And you should be thanking her for pointing that out. I know a lot of men aren't going to agree with this. That's okay. You don't have to agree with the truth, because the truth is the truth because it's the truth. That doesn't mean you got to agree with it. Okay? That's the way the Lord works. If truth was subjective, everybody can have their own truth. I could say, well, I think it's great people can murder. Yeah, it's my truth, right? So I should be able to go murder people. You see what I'm saying? The truth is the truth because it's the Lord's truth. And this is the way that God made us and created us. And if you can just understand these things and begin functioning, stepping into your manhood, and if you're a lady, step into the power in your household. Understand. Be filled with the light of the Lord. Walk with the Lord. Fill yourself with more light. Go sit down. Pray with your husband. Understand. Read. Learn. Do it all together. Continue to fill yourself with that light so you can manifest that light all over your house. You are that important. And men, you are that important. You see? Together, when we work together, we create this infinity with each other and God. And at that point, we are not only representing what the Lord looks like in our household, but we're representing what the Lord looks like in our community. We're representing what the Lord looks like in the world. When something functions correctly and something is, when we fully understand what is the roles between these particular things and how are they to function with the Lord. So anyhow, my friends, let me look at here. Do I got anything else to go over today? A couple spiritual references here and scriptural references. Ephesians 5:25 says, husbands, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Okay? Proverbs 31:26 says, she speaks with wisdom and faithful instruction is on her tongue. So take that, both men and women that might be watching this, to fully understand the dynamic of your household and how things are supposed to function. And just really my goal is to make you very self-aware just on a few things. Just on a few things. And I believe that a lot of this stuff is very basic. I mean, if you go into relationship counseling, things like that, I mean, they'll keep you coming back for 10 years. If you just do these few things, you're going to be able to avoid all of that. And when you start walking with God and you begin cleaving to the Lord and making him the center of your relationship, you're never going to have to go to them things. You just won't. God will take over and he'll do what he does best, and you will begin living the life that you're meant to live by walking in the way that he intended you to walk out your relationships with each other. All right, my friends, I appreciate you guys for coming along on today's Kingdom Power Life. And if you guys haven't got in on our Facebook group, head on over to kingdompowerlife.com, click the button. And if you're watching on the podcast, please like, please subscribe, all that fun stuff. And if you're listening over on the podcast, please write a review. But if you're watching, I should have said watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment. I appreciate it. As usual, I'm going to see you on the next one.